2024 was a good year for gaming. If you were to put me in a room and describe the best year this decade for gaming, the answer is pretty obvious. 2023. But 2024 surprisingly came close to even competing with it. In fact, out of the years in the decade for best years in gaming in the 2020s, this is easily top 4. It's right here at the moment. And of course, for every year, we're going for a top 10 this year. Yeah, if I have to be honest, stretching this out to a top 15 feels more work considering the material I'm working with, let alone a top 20 like last year. Plus, if I have to do a top 15 best list, I'd have to do one for the worst list. And the idea of putting Princess Peach Showtime on the worst list terrifies me. Oh shit, did I piss off the Princess Peach fandom? Rules are practically the same. No ports or remasters unless they're released here in America for the first time. You know, I say that, but has the rule even been enacted? But hey, you never know if there's a JRPG released this year that was released in 2015, only in Japan. Remakes, on the other hand, are fair game, since they are, by definition, brand new games, even if they borrow elements from the original. They run in a different engine, they generally look better, and often play differently enough that warrants them being an entirely different game. I'm also gonna add 2 more rules. Yeah, after saying the same shit every year, I'm gonna do something a little different. First rule, early access games. We are not counting them. True, there are a lot of potentials for games that are in early access, some of which, honestly, if they are released without the early access tag, can be amazing games. But they're technically not officially released yet, so as much as I love Hades 2, I'm gonna have to cut you off until the official release. That means you too, Vaygren. Second rule, expansions/DLC. We are also not counting them. I've actually done a poll since I wanted to get your guys' opinion, and interestingly enough, this was posted before the Game Awards, and no one liked that. So yeah, I'm gonna exclude expansions, which admittedly is a bit of a shame. There do exist expansions that might be on par with the actual games, like the Sunbreak DLC for Monster Hunter Rise, or to take this year's release in consideration, the Elden Ring game. Okay, yeah, I get this is the game that caused the controversy in the first place, but there's a reason why there's a gray area with this inclusion. However, that also means you two are f***ed. These, despite selling at retail price, have official physical copies. Okay, one of them has a physical copy and being advertised as a brand new game. These two are considered DLC. By the law of Biden, that is the PlayStation Network and the Nintendo eShop, this is not a fully released game. Because every time I boot up Black Ops 6, it keeps telling me that I'm playing Modern Warfare 2. Then again, this does invalidate last year's worst list when I put Modern Warfare 3, because guess what else is on that trophy tab? Oh well, just pretend I removed that for the sake of consistency and put Diablo 4 on the 20th spot that year. Yeah, that's right, Diablo 4 fans, I didn't like your game! All 4 of you. I think that should suffice for the rule set, so without further ado, let's start off this countdown with... What the f***? Why am I holding a Ubisoft game? No, I am not coping. This is quite possibly the best Ubisoft game you can play in recent times. This game is so good, I wonder what projects the dev team has in store for the future. Well, that sucks, but at least it's just only one game studio. Are you fucking serious? Dude, I passed by that place during my work. I literally see the building every day during my bus ride. I'm not gonna record it like the skit I did for the ex-Sega building because, well, you know, I don't want to get my equipment stolen or anything. Yeah, blame the San Francisco government for that. That's an entirely different issue that hopefully get remedied. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I'm getting off the topic. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. Well, if you're gonna go out on a bang, might as well be one of the best Metroidvanias to go out on. Which honestly would have been a good natural evolution for the 2D games since, in a way, those games were already adventure games full of exploration, from the level design to the gadgets, weapons, and mechanics, to the surprisingly responsive combat, a bunch of enemies with their own tactics and gimmicks you have to overcome. The platforming feels nice, being able to unlock newer abilities throughout the game and traverse to areas you've yet to encounter with wall jumps, a dimensional shift. This is simply a well-designed Metroidvania. That said, it doesn't really innovate from the traditional Metroidvania style. It's a good game, and in terms of quality, this is definitely up to par with Metroid Dread, but it more so borrows elements from previous Metroidvanias and combines what makes them work rather than what makes them brand new. It plays more safe than anything, and the story is basic.
It was a dark and stormy night.
Your prince gets kidnapped and you got to rescue them from another castle. Wow, they did not just copy Super Mario Bros. And Prince of frickin' Persia of all things. You know how much story they could do with the time manipulation thing? But even with the downsides, that's still not enough to deter what I find to be an excellent game worth your time. Especially when physical copies are still available because, oh my god, Ubisoft, stop the f*** up, please! Is there even a bad Vanillaware game? Cause no matter what, all their games will always be cooking. Or baking, if you know what I'm saying. Unicorn Overlord has this beautiful art style with its paint-like canvas from the backgrounds to the character designs. The game looks breathtakingly gorgeous, but that's not to say that the game itself is a piece of candy. It's an entire bakery. The game plays like a real-time tactics game, though there is a pause button so you can at least strategize before executing your plan. Positioning is the key to victory as you need to set up your squads, especially with the types of allies you'll be forming. It's not a traditional tactics game where every unit is its own unit. For every ally you have, you can form a team composition, and that team is considered its own unit. So you can form a team of berserkers or a team of mage units or just whatever the f***. As long as you form them to combat against your opponent's formation, only then will that be the decisive key to victory. There is a lot to consider when building the perfect team composition, and the story. It's alright, I'm not gonna lie, the story, while functional and perfectly fine for what it is, won't really break grounds in storytelling. It's a simple good guy bad guy scenario. Even provides a damsel in distress trope to throw in on the table as well. There's decision making on whether you could decide to spare some enemies or execute them or even kill some ally units, but I ended up sparing the majority of them because there's not really a benefit to being the bad guy. I guess you could be a meanie doo-doo brain for the challenge run, but aside from that, there's not really a benefit for the genocide round. Still, from the art style to the level design, the fantastic, as always, Vanillaware character designs, this is certainly a game you don't want to miss. And while you're at it, go play all the other Vanillaware games. They deserve your money. They made Dragon's Crown, 13 Sentinels, Odin Sphere.
If I had one!
That's right, a visual novel in the top 10, and not just any visual novel, a visual novel that no one's ever heard of. I mean, what other options do I have in terms of relevancy? Nothing beats an entry on this list like a game that was released in 2021. Oh wow, I finally get to implement that stupid rule. Like, when was the last time I actually enacted that rule? Ace Attorney back in 2021? Oh hey, that year's back. Huh, well, I guess I'll wait 3 years later when Hypnosis Mic Rap Battle releases in 2027. Tsukihime, A Piece of Blue Glass Moon is a remake of the original Tsukihime, released exclusively in Japan. I've been aware of the company and the universe of Tsukihime thanks to the games like Melty Blood and...
Mama, what?
But I never truly experienced the beginning of the world building that is our main characters, and what they have to go through in order to save Japan from the vampire infestation. Now, looking at the footage, it's a visual novel, and due to the lack of English dub, yes, you'll need to do a lot of reading. Hopefully you got the basic knowledge of that, because this box art recommends it. But yeah, the gameplay! It's a visual novel, it's not going to innovate beyond using a dictionary on the side, but the game is absolutely carried by its visual spectacles and its storytelling. I'm sorry if I can't explain this any further without spoiling the game, because I really don't want to showcase major plot elements of the game like, what the f***? Holy shit! That I'm reading on the box art was not kidding! Oh, Jesus. Fuck, am I? Oh god. Oh, am I ripping her? Oh god. No, I'm not ripping her, but it's goddamn worse! I should not be watching this. Holy Jesus. Fuck. It didn't seek Jesus. This game needs to seek Jesus. Oh god. The blood, the humanity, the fuck. Mario just said fuck. Mario said fuck! Did I? /her titties? Yeah. Needless to say, converting from Melty Blood to Tsukahime is the equivalent of watching iCarly followed by Bible Black. But that's not to say that this game is all shock factor. There's a perfectly reasonable explanation for all this. Yes, including the rap scene. You just have to play the game to find out. It is a pretty acquired taste, though, I will fully admit to that. If you're not into like the Mortal Kombat gore of visuals, then this will easily upset your stomach. And after you beat the game and can't wait to see how the story continues afterwards, well, good luck learning Japanese, because we got no word when the sequel's coming out. But that still begs the question, does this game play well in the toilet? Wait, hold the hell up, you're not the Moon Princess. There's a reason people are converting towards this game. I'll admit, when I first heard about this game, I thought, what the fuck is Balatro? But then I started playing the game and was instantly hooked. This game is poker, but with roguelike elements. You accumulate points by creating poker hands. The higher the value, the more points you get on top of multiplier bonuses. And a level up mechanic where you can either expand your deck or thin it out. There are plenty of ways to play the game, and there are so many ways to replay it. There are some RNG involved with this game, but it's poker, what'd you expect? As you beat runs and unlock new deck cards or challenges, this game gets addicting until you fold through the pressure, or if that boss fight fucks your combo games. I can't do spades. I built by hand around this! If I do have to give a minor critique to the game's UI, there is a bug in the menu where there's this X mark button. Now, usually, an icon like this would close the game, but not only does it not close the game, it sends me to their Twitter page. Like, what the fuck? I already bought the game. Why would I need to buy another one, the greedy bastards? So yeah, that's annoying. But other than that, this is still a fun, addicting game that, once it hooks you in, you're gonna be there for a while. But seriously, whoever designed that logo needs to be fired. I love Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door back when it was released on the GameCube, and I absolutely love that this remake not only recreated it, but exceeded it in terms of quality. Even if the original is just as perfect as it is, just the small quality of life improvements like fixing the backtracking or a checklist of collectibles, and backshots, new sprites to showcase proper animations. It's The Thousand Year Door, so if you've played the game before, this game practically plays near identical, minus the frame rate. So the game's frame rate being 30 instead of the original 60 is a downgrade in terms of visuals, but while there is a minor difference, it's actually for the better since timing perfect parries becomes a lot more manageable. Of course, this balances out by making the animation frames a little hard to distinguish when to parry, but yeah, first world Paper Mario problems. Honestly, any new player getting into the Paper Mario remake should be interested, as the story is more or less the same, but even more faithful to the Japanese translation. So even with some minor downgrades, this is still the definitive way to experience the game. Sure, there are things in the original that I wish was implemented for the remake, in which case it doesn't hurt to play both. I would recommend this to any Mario fans who love RPGs. Which, let's be honest, you guys already bought the game anyways. Oh my god, it really is 2016 all over again. Multiplayer games hasn't really been my shtick, unless it's a fighting game. Yeah, I'm more into bettering myself than working as a team, especially if that team refuses to pick a vanguard or strategist. Jesus fuck, guys! We do not need 5 DPSs! The moment I played a single match of Marvel Rivals, it immediately clicked. Yes, it's very similar to Overwatch, the good one, way before they plastered number 2 on it, but it also adds some elements to make the game stand out from its competitors, like terrain damage, team-up bonuses, and more playstyles to make each character unique. Yes, you could argue some characters are essentially Overwatch characters with a Marvel skin. Groot is basically Mei, Psylocke is pretty much Genji, Black Widow with her sniper rifle. It's on the tip of my tongue like a certain Widowmaker, but I'm sure it's a coincidence. But there's still plenty of characters that provide their own playstyle, like the dual Cloak and Dagger with their hybrid support and DPS combo, or Storm with her speed and power buffs for her allies while still providing sufficient DPS damage. Even characters like the Punisher, who can be argued as a Soldier 76 clone, has elements from Bastion with a turret. And if anything, Star-Lord is more of the Soldier 76 clone with his auto-aim, that cheating bastard. This game is addicting. Anytime the bar says one more round, you'll be continuously pressing that button over and over again until you realize tomorrow was yesterday ago. It is slowly being one of my most played games this year, which is very difficult considering how this game released on December. I'm pretty sure give it a few months and I have no doubt this will be the greats with my Steam library, next to Guilty Gear Strive and Yakuza 0 and Goikatsu Party. I mean, no shit, of course this game's gonna be on the list. And how could it not be after copious amounts of hours I spent playing this game? I did not finish it. Okay, so full discrepancy, this could be a Persona 5 situation because this same thing happened back in 2017. My game of the year was Super Mario Odyssey at the time, and then I finished Persona 5 and wow, I was sorely mistaken. And I'm saying this just in case I regret putting Metaphor on the number 4 spot, but for now, from what I've played, this is the perfect spot for it. This game's narrative is just simply breathtaking. You're playing as what is essentially an underdog political figure, and with the help of your teammates, your goal is to become the President of the United States. And by that, I mean king of some medieval country. Although it's not too far off from our American judicial system. We do have a fascist in the running. Of course, that's just in layman's terms. There's a deeper narrative going on, like sabotaging our competitors who are the popular vote, or helping your prince companion who's actually the true heir to the throne. But we also have to find a cure for his anemic coma. Have you considered True Love's Kiss? Maybe that might help. All the while changing the format enough so that Metaphor stands unique compared to its Shin Megami Tensei and Persona Brothers. You can even change classes for every character, making more customizable fights. And again, I'm still in the middle of playing through it, so who knows, it might get better as time progresses. It might even overtake my number 3 spot. Maybe from a certain Game of the Year nominee. Or Game of the Year winner, perhaps. And you know what? I couldn't be more happier. Sure, counting this game, 3 games from the Game Awards made it to the top 10 list. Yeah, sorry Wukong and Final Fantasy, I didn't even have time for you. Elden Ring? I don't even know why you're here. Bro thinks he's incognito or something. It is no exaggeration when I say this is the best Sony game that has been published for 11 years. You know what was the last game I considered peak material from Sony? This shit was 2013! And I guess because of that, they keep releasing it over and over again, so that's why it still stays like that. Sony has pulled their first W. No, not to make it to my number 1 slot, mind you, but still, Astro Bot is a fantastic game that harkens back to Nintendo 3D platformers that we so desperately need. Like, what do we got now? We got Mario and Kangaroo Jack? Astro Bot is Sony's take on the 3D platforming genre. This isn't Team Asobi's first foray, since they did make a little title called Astro's Playroom. This was a cute tech demo that showcased the enhancements that the PS5 and its DualSense controller has to offer. Now give them a AAA budget and you got yourself, quite possibly, the most thrilling, epic, and nostalgic field of wonderment. Each and every level is crafted with the most sublime visuals and the most fun hidden goodies, from puzzle pieces to your Astrobot friends that you can recruit, like Spike from Ape Escape or Tomb Raider's Dude Man. All the cameos presented are just simply a love letter to PlayStation history, unless they're Square Enix. Still, the amount of PlayStation icons represented with love and care, from the classics to the modern, it's like going to Disneyland without Sora. Okay, seriously, Square Enix, why didn't you get into this? That's not to say this game is nothing but references, cause the gameplay is just phenomenal. From the tight controls with a flood-like double jump, various of gadgets and peripherals to shake up the level design, like slowing down time with your VR headset, a bulldog that lets you speedrun through the level, or a super soaker where Wow, this really is a spiritual successor to Super Mario Sunshine, isn't it? Does it necessarily innovate from the 3D platformer genre that other platformers have already done? No, not really, but it doesn't need to be. The game just needs to be fun. And Team Asobi did that tenfold, especially with the challenge levels presented by the PlayStation buttons, circle, triangle, square, and X worlds, because who the hell calls it cross? Like, come on, not even PlayStation themselves calls it the cross button. But oh man, those worlds are hard to come by, but I did it. And not only did I do it, I completed it too. I've saved all my buddies, collected all the puzzle pieces, Star Worlds, and got the Platinum Trophy. This game, plus the next 2 games I've completed to its fullest, were just an amazing journey to do so. Of course, despite my praises, this is number 3 on the list. Yes, I was absolutely happy that this game won Game of the Year, but it's not to say that it is my all-time favorite game released this year, because my next 2 games weren't even nominated at all, so it didn't even get the chance. Hell, one of them was not even mentioned or nominated at all. And to be fair, I don't think this is a game that anyone knows until I show it to you guys. For an indie game, there is so much action it hurts. I mean, aside from the seizure-inducing imagery, Mullet Mad Jack is a roguelike boomer shooter akin to the Doom franchise, with vaporwave 80s aesthetics and an anime made by Brazilian devs who are absolutely passionate about this project. If you want fast-paced action with microseconds of reactions requiring to kill some billionaire robots over and over, all for the sweet pairs of Jordans, oh, and some green-haired bitch, then this is the game for you. This game is pure crackhead adrenaline. You gotta shoot your way through the next 10 floors, all the while without dying within the next 10 seconds. Each kill and how you kill your enemies rewards you with precious seconds just to survive your next encounter, with multitudes of weapons, upgrades, and abilities that are randomly generated, meaning every playthrough is unique. You can play the game like a samurai, go for environmental damage, dick shots. Do robots even have dicks to feel pain? Why would you program that? And an endless mode where they decrease 1 second from the time for every 10 floors. Good luck killing an enemy per second at floor 90. And the boss fights, my god, talk about excellent game design. Even without the time limit, they managed to create Doom levels of boss fights, even adding puzzle elements to some of them. And even if you don't want to play the game with a 10-second time limit, you can still play the game like a classic Doom style game with a health meter. And guess who 100% completed this game? If you want a true challenge, nothing beats the thrill of the game like beating this game on the hardest required difficulty. I played the game on the second to hardest difficulty just for the Platinum Trophy. On Steam, yes, I'm counting that. And this game is no joke. You need to master the art of headshots, or nutshots if you're sadistic. I did it all, completed over 30 floors straight in endless mode, beat the game with no recovery time aside from headshots, upgraded every weapon, downgraded every weapon, got the joke weapon. I did it all. It was that much fun, and I don't regret any of it. And it's only number 2. What could be number 1? Well, before we get to the next segment, if you guys follow me, I did put up a poll as a predictability as to what type of game will be on my number 1 spot. For the past 8 years, my game of the year has been consistent of Japanese titles. Persona 5 in 2017, Octopath Traveler 2018, Resident Evil 2, 13 Sentinels, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and the closest we get to a Western title was last year at 2023 with Hi-Fi Rush. Published by Bethesda, but still developed by Tango Gameworks, a Japanese developer. And I'm sort of biased towards Japanese games, and if I have to be honest, I don't know why. They just gravitate more towards me. Possibly from their gameplay philosophy, the anime aesthetics. Not to say that any other games from other developers wouldn't make it on my list. God of War Ragnarok was a Western game, Hogwarts Legacy was a Western game, Sea of Stars, Marvel Spider-Man 1 and 2, Crash Team Racing, Celeste, Doom Eternal, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2? Even on this very list, there's Mullet Mad Jack. I swear to God, guys, I'm not racist. But that does beg the question on me putting this next game on the list. If I put a Japanese title, Why, Base, your bias is showing. But if I put a Western title, oh Base, you're only doing that to not follow the trend. I've internally built this gigantic hole, and I don't know how to get out of it. Maybe I'm just overthinking things. I mean, yeah, I could also just not give a shit. I still believe that regardless of the region this game originated, this is my list, and I have no regrets putting this game as my #1 spot. So with that being said, since 2016, this next entry is a game fully from the West outside of Japan from its publisher and developer. That's right, I've destroyed the trend! Japan is no longer the forthcoming member of my psyche! I've broken the curse! My #1 spot is a Western title! If that Western title was a 1-hour plane ride from Japan. Okay, yeah, I did trick you guys a little bit. South Korea isn't necessarily considered a Western game, but it is outside of Japan. All hail our Korean overlords. They finally took over Japan's dominance in my gaming sphere. And it was so easy too. All they had to do was be horny. Okay, but for real, what if I told you that with absolutely no irony, that the reason Stellar Blade made it to my #1 spot was because it was a fun game? I know, it's shocking, right? You mean to tell me this game has more content than just ass and titties? Stellar Blade is more so a traditional character action game with Souls-like combat and flashy finishers. And my god, this game goes absolutely over the top bonkers from the animation, the exploration. In fact, the exploration of each and every world is beautifully crafted to showcase the PlayStation 5's hardware while outputting in a consistent 60 FPS. Not enough for the game to not get a PC port, but you know, you learn to accept early access. This game ain't easy either. You have to learn how to parry, dodge, and attack at the proper moment. And let's not forget the bullshit one-hit KO jump scare. Boss fights are amazing. Every monster and enemy is exhilarating to fight. There's a smorgasbord of collectible outfits you can unlock, craft, and they all look so beautiful. On one hand, I've heard the criticism about the game being censored. Okay, apparently this is not enough for people to jerk off to. I can't touch my penis with this filth on my screen. On the other side of the spectrum, I've also heard criticism of how sexualized Eve is in terms of her design. You may ask if this aspect distracts from the setting of this post-apocalyptic world. First time, you guys are fine with Bayonetta and 2B, why is Eve any different? Why is her being sexy supposed to be a bad thing? Sexy people exist, have you been to Brazil? I'm only bringing this up because it's like the talking point as to why people may be drawn off to the style of the game, and that's completely unfair. It's like not liking Xenoblade Chronicles because of their British accents, or not liking Sargon from Prince of Persia because he wears dreads. It's such a minor intrusion that if that's not enough for you to not want to play a game, then buddy, you need to lower your standards. I provided ways to enjoy this game regardless of what the game looks like, to the point where, of course, I got that sweet, sweet platinum trophy. I needed to play the game and unlock 3 different endings, though I only needed to play the game twice in order to do so, since one playthrough can unlock 2 endings. This is one of the few games where after I have beaten this game, I went back immediately to play it again. To be fair, Mullen Magic did the same for me too, but it took me at least 5 months to do so. This game did it by 1 second. As soon as I beat the game, I just wanted to do it again, but faster. And this ain't a fast game, mind you. 2 playthroughs took me 61 hours to complete. The first playthrough by itself took me over 40 hours, just because I wanted to do all the side quests, collect all the soda cans, kill every enemy and side boss. Fucking fish, god damn it, I did it all, sister! I even went back to the game just for the boss challenges and photo mode. This game is just beautiful. The gaming media did not do this game justice. I keep seeing people say this is nothing but a Gooner game, and unfortunately, the Stellar Blade fans aren't helping with those allegations with their cries of censorship or their all-hail anti-woke agendas. Jesus fucking Christ, guys, it's a video game about killing demons, it's not that deep. But hopefully I've convinced you enough to at least try the game out for yourself, because this game is more than just a pretty face. It's a fun action-adventure game with amazing world building, thrilling combat, and free-form platforming. And hey, it's getting a PC release sometime next year, so even more players will get to experience this amazing game. And you know what? How fitting is it that Sony got their W this year, when 2 years ago Nintendo got their W with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and a year ago Hi-Fi Rush with Xbox. Now admittedly, Stellar Blade is a second-party title, so it's more equivalent to a Pokemon game than a Mario game, but you know what? Small details. It makes me wonder if the next game's gonna be a Sega title, considering how, they made consoles at one point. Maybe Atari? Do they even exist anymore? Like, when was the last time I heard of that company? This year has been amazing for gaming, and it's still impressive that while it did manage to surpass 2023's listings, it manages to match up the quality of it, including the bad games. I'm gonna have to do a worse list, aren't I? I'm cooked. Well, at least it's a top 10 this time and not a top 20, so I'm not gonna be struggling as much, considering how I actually did play 10 bad games this year.